This is Weights and Wealth, your one-stop shop for entertaining education on building a stronger body and bank account.
We are not doctors or financial advisors and must warn you this is not medical or investing advice. It is for your entertainment. Welcome back to Weights and Wealth, your number one faith, family, fitness, finance, and freedom podcast. Not in that order. And then sometimes football.
Like today.
Yeah, so this episode we'll be focusing on the finance F and why you may need a good accountant. Accountants do a lot more than crunch numbers. They help people understand what those numbers mean, because accounting is the language of business. And unless you have a background in it, you may not actually know what certain numbers mean.
Is that like accounting class 101? First thing on the slide is accounting is the language of business.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of how they draw people in.
Your class sophomore year.
And it gets them excited about it. And it makes us feel important too.
The shout out for this episode goes to Tom from Alexandria, Virginia. Tom actually sent us something to say during this episode. So I'm going to read that later on. But thank you, Tom, for listening to and supporting the show and sharing it with people. We appreciate it.
And then this week's wealth wisdom is that taxes can drastically affect your financial growth. They can impact investments and just how much money you actually keep at the end of the day. And a good accountant does a lot more than just file your tax return for you. They are also forward looking, and that is the part of the job that it's a lot more fun than just filling out forms. And it's what accountants like to do. So a good accountant will help you plan for the future and work with a financial planner to help you realize your goals.
All right. The intro article for today. You hear all this stuff about big tech this, big tech that. But you know what actually helps you grow in your investment portfolio? It's big stakes. So there's this article on Texas Roadhouse and their returns. I had no idea that Texas Roadhouse has been an electric stock of recent years. So I pulled the numbers, and from 2020 to 2025, the Texas Roadhouse stock absolutely killed big tech. It beat Google, Alphabet, Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, Amazon, and AMD, which is one of Nick's. AMD was a huge stock in college that seemed like everyone in our friend group was like hammering AMD. But yeah, Texas Roadhouse has just been on fire for the last 5 years. So Nick, you want to add anything else money-wise about the returns there, or move on to some football talk?
We can move on to the football talk. So we want to talk a little bit about our Dynasty League, which is just with a bunch of friends from college, which Ted and I have been completely dominating.
Yes,
and it's not
absolutely.
even really close. Yeah, I think so. So we'll probably get buys for the playoffs, and it'll probably be us two in the playoffs. And we did play each other already, and I won that. So I think it's some foreshadowing.
I was missing someone or something. I think we need a rematch. But I mean, last year we thought we were both going to be in the championship, and you didn't make it. You know, poverty team. So
yeah, injuries killed me last year. Playoffs can be a crapshoot, and at this point, I don't think my team can get much better. So I'm just not going to trade at this point. It's just up to luck.
All right. Well, we thought it'd be fun to maybe put a bet on who will win the championship this year, since we think it will be one of us. Since we have definitely by far the best two teams. Sorry to everyone else in our league that listens, but Nick, what was your idea for a bet we could place on who of us will win the championship?
So I thought this was a bet about our league, like a hot take or something.
Okay.
I didn't realize that's
give
wanted.
that and then come up with one while I'm doing mine.
Okay, so mine is that Wyatt goes out in the first round of the toilet bowl. And in the toilet bowl, it's the loser who moves on. And I
Yeah.
think his team will go
win.
out in the first. Yeah. And I don't think that he'll get the first round or the first
Overall pick.
this year.
Yeah. Wyatt took over a team in our league that was just absolutely destitute, and he's done a good job turning it around. You got Egbuka in the rookie draft, so that was huge for his team. All right. My bet that I thought we could place.
Actually, I have one for this too.
Okay.
Whoever does better in the playoffs gets naming rights.
Okay. So that was mine. So mine was like if we're both in the championship, if we play each other in the championship, then whoever wins the loser. So like say I beat you in the championship, you would have to name one of your sons middle name.
Oh,
10.
middle name.
Yeah. So we
great.
do like a middle instead of like straight up naming rights like the Chalupa Batman from the league. It's like, okay, one of your son, we could do like first, or like one of yours had like the middle name has to take the name.
Okay, that's a deal.
Gotta get, it's maybe have to ask the wife first, but
yeah.
So are we just kind of in agreement on that then? As long as ladies agree with it. All right. All right, moving on to accounting stuff. This is going to be a Nick heavy episode, but I might have something to contribute once or twice. We'll see.
Yeah. So this episode is generally about, I guess, like the value that an accountant can add. Having a tax accountant isn't for everybody, but I think it is for most people. Like the only people that I would say to do your own taxes where it's fine is if you are just like a W-2 employee, and that's pretty much all you have going on, or some lighter investment, some light investments. But once you start getting into businesses, rentals, even moving states, that can have an effect. Where it's just really important to have somebody who knows what they're doing. Because making a mistake can really hurt, and I've seen it. And that's the first thing that I'm gonna get into is that you don't know what you don't know, and so you may be overpaying tax without knowing it. And just some examples I've seen recently is that there was a single mom whose husband died, and her daughter was getting the Social Security that her husband was entitled to, and she was putting that on her own tax return. She didn't know that Social Security for her daughter is taxable to her daughter, and that she doesn't need to pay taxes on her daughter's income. And her daughter doesn't pay any tax because the amount of Social Security is so low that she just doesn't have to pay any tax on it. So she had been reporting, an extra $20,000 or $30,000 of income for probably 10 years, and at her rate, which was about 30%, that's like 10 grand a year in tax that she was paying. And we can only go back 3 years and fix tax returns. And once that 3 years has passed, the IRS just says, oh, sorry, the money's ours now. So that one was sad to see, but we did go back and fix some of her tax returns and got her some money back.
Okay.
Another one is double taxation of stock options. So if you are getting stock options through your company, you really should get a tax accountant to report them correctly. They're even it's a difficult topic for CPAs to learn. And even people with a couple years of experience don't necessarily know how to do it correctly. Because stock options, they're reported on your W-2, but then when you sell them, you also get a statement that shows how much you paid for them and then what you sold them for. But 99% of the time, the amount that you paid for them isn't correct, and it should actually be higher. And an accountant will know how to make that adjustment for you. And then, I saw a return where somebody prepared it by themselves on TurboTax, and they didn't increase that amount, which was, I think, around $50,000.
Oh, gosh.
So they reported an extra $50,000 of income that they didn't need to report, which thankfully that was within the time frame where we could fix it.
Okay.
But the worry is that they had been doing that for a while,
Yeah.
and just didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And then another one that I saw recently was somebody sold a house for a pretty big gain, but they only owned it for 10 months. Whereas if they had held it for more than 12 months, they would have gotten favorable gains.
Long-term capital gains?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So tax at 15% instead of the ordinary rate, which was 24, which, I mean, that's what, 7%, 9%. But, you know, on a gain of 30 or 40,000, that can make a pretty big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's where like just having an accountant helps you kind of plan for that and wait an extra 2 months to sell it or something like that. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's something that like your average person might not know about. Like they might not know that if I wait an extra 2 months, then I'll get a better tax rate.
Yeah.
On the gain. Something else that a good accountant will provide is peace of mind. I know that a lot of people really stress about taxes. Even people who do have accountants still sometimes stress about them because they just don't know what's going on with it. I mean, like the revenue code is very, very big. I was actually looking into something for my job. It was IRC section 1411, so 1411 section, which, so there's at least 1411 sections in the revenue code, and it's written in legalese and very technical, so there's a ton in there. But a good accountant will provide you that peace of mind and actually explain your situation to you, so that you feel better about it and that you actually know the amount of tax you're paying and why, and any strategies that they have to bring that down.
Is that it for peace of mind?
Well, and then I also just wanted to add that I've seen a lot of memes about accidentally committing tax fraud on Instagram. That doesn't happen. Fraud's intentional. So if you make a mistake, that's not fraud. You may have to pay some extra tax, but you would have owed that anyway. So that's not something that people should worry about. I just kind of wanted to ease some fears with that.
I thought that distinction was funny when I saw it in the outline. Before I saw Nick's outline for this, one of the listeners sent me this to say about Nick. When they had been using an accountant, and he explains in here, but when they had to pay a bunch of money, they were like, okay, this can't be right. And they went to Nick to ask if everything was done correctly. So this listener said, our old accountant's best skill was creative confusion. We found out when we owed $15,000 in surprise taxes due to mismanagement of our S Corp. We didn't know that accountant was a bad accountant until we met Nick, who not only helped fix our books for us, but also broke down the relevant portions of the tax code in a very simple and easy to understand way, bringing us peace of mind. So when I saw Nick's outline for this, I was like, oh, that's kind of crazy that they both said peace of mind like that. But yeah, that just goes to show like, not every accountant is maybe a good accountant. Just like with what I talk about on the coaching side of things, like not every personal trainer online or in a gym is a good personal trainer. So it can be hard to find the right one when it's something kind of foreign to you.
Yeah. And I'd say that the peace of mind aspect is the toughest part for accountants and is what is kind of lacking in general. Just kind of breaking things down and explaining things to people and taking the time to do that. Because like the job by its nature is mostly behind a computer screen and not really talking with people. But that is my favorite part of the job because I actually feel like I'm helping people understand and making like a positive impact on them.
Yeah.
So a good accountant will do that. Now, yeah. And like I mentioned at the beginning, tax accountants aren't only backward looking. They don't only just record what you did last year. They'll also help you plan for the future, and finding a CPA that will work with a financial advisor is very advisable. What? I said advise. Okay,
advisable.
Because financial advisors aren't CPAs, and they don't, I mean, like they have some idea that a long-term capital gain is better than a short-term capital gain, but that's very basic. I mean, I've seen publicly traded partnerships, financial advisors will get their clients into those, which tend to be like Sunoco, like your oil and gas. So they're traded on the stock market, but they're actually partnerships. And I'm not saying that they can't be used in a good financial plan. But if you have very small investments in those, the compliance cost, like the amount that you have to pay a tax accountant to record that each year, is very, very high. And so financial advisors may not consider that. And then especially as your portfolio starts getting larger, it may make sense to take advantage of tax exempt income. If you have very high income, it may make more sense to go towards the tax exempt income, which pay lower rates or lower interest rates, but you don't pay tax on that income. And then a lot of people, like everyone's situation is different. And a good accountant will help you optimize your specific situation. Because there's a lot of generic advice online about taxes. And that doesn't apply to everybody. And then there are some things that aren't talked about that could apply to you, but you just won't know about them because you don't have a background in tax.
Yeah.
All right. And I touched on this at the beginning, but who should and shouldn't have an accountant? If you're an early career W-2 earner, I don't think it really makes sense because accountants are expensive. Mm-hmm. I think the average rate for most firms is about $250 an hour. So you are paying pretty high rates for that. But pretty much anything else, if you're a business owner, rental, or have rentals, if you invest in partnerships, or you just have like a large investment portfolio in general. If you move, if you have stock option compensation, those kind of things can be very confusing. And by trying to do it yourself, you may be able to get to the right answer, but you may not feel confident in it. You may be worried about having done something wrong. But I would say in a lot of those situations, you aren't doing it right. Yeah. And it could be optimized, and accountants can find you like write-offs that you might not know about. Mm-hmm. All right. And then what to expect when you go to find an accountant. You'll usually have like a initial call or meeting with them where they'll just ask you very general questions about your situation. And it's really about finding out whether you're a good fit. Because each accountant has a specialty. I mean, like there are specialties for partnerships, corporations, trusts, small businesses, high net worth. And then, so like the first call is just kind of about finding out whether you're a good fit, and it doesn't really get into the nitty gritty. And if an accountant starts giving you like very detailed advice in that meeting without looking at documents beforehand, that might be a little bit of a red flag. And then, from there, they'll ask you to send your tax return from last year. So they just get a better idea of what the numbers look like. And then a very detailed questionnaire. These things are very long and will have questions on them that you might not know the answer to. Generally, if you don't know the answer to it, the answer is that it doesn't apply to you. Mm-hmm. But if you have questions about it, definitely ask them, and like make notes on it, and just ask them questions about it. That's the process about starting out. And then a relatively basic tax return will probably cost around $400 or $500, which does sound like a lot, but you are also saving a lot of your own time and headache and stress.
I hated using those like online returns to try to do it. It took me so much time, and then the final straw was when I was going to Ranger School in April. And it wouldn't accept my like 110C like government healthcare thing or whatever. And I had to just print it off and mail it to the IRS and say, hey, it wouldn't let me submit online. Like, please let me know if there's any issues. And my roommate mailed it for me as I left for Ranger School. And then I was like, okay, I'm having Nick help me. He's a CPA now.
Yeah. And like I've heard a bunch of stories like that.
Yeah.
It's especially with the states, for whatever reason, people just have trouble filing on TurboTax with states. But like that $400 to $500 you may save that much in tax.
Yeah.
Too. All right. And then, so for finding a good accountant, kind of like finding a personal trainer, it's good to ask them a lot of questions. I would definitely ask them about any recent legislation that was passed. Like one of the first things that Ted's friend who gave that testimonial asked me is how like the Build Back Better bill, just like what was in it and how it might affect them. Which I thought that was a great question. It kind of just shows interest. And so from his perspective, and then also me explaining that to him tells him that I'm staying up to date on these topics.
Yeah. It's just like one of the things that we mentioned before when we did an episode on like finding a good trainer or red flags for trainers is like ask them when the last continuing education they've done was. Mm-hmm. And if all they've ever done is their base certification or like just becoming a CPA, mm-hmm. like they probably don't like love their career and try to like continuously learn more about it. Mm-hmm. Which obviously you want your accountant to be up to date on legislation and the tax code.
Right, because laws are constantly changing, and if an accountant doesn't know about a change that could affect you, they might complete your tax return wrong, or you might be paying too much in tax. So it's very important to stay up to date on that kind of stuff. Ask them what type of clients that they like working with. So I have always liked small business because I think small business is very important for the economy. So I kind of have like a philosophical attachment to it.
That's a red, white, and blue-blooded American right there.
Yeah. And so I think those people are very valuable to the economy, and I want them to keep as much of their money as possible. So I like helping them, and then I also like working with people who ask questions, because it shows that they are kind of taking control of their own situation. They don't just want to put it all onto somebody else, but they actually want to understand it. And I feel like I'm adding more value to them because those are the people who actually value my advice. Mm-hmm. So I love getting questions from people. I love explaining it. I do like what I do. And the advisory part is my favorite part of it. And then when you send them your prior year tax return, ask them if they see any planning opportunities. Now, the answer might be no, like it all looked good. But a lot of the times they'll have small tweaks to it. They'll ask you about HSA contributions, 401k contributions, and just optimizing that, like basic kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, that's mostly what I have. Do you have anything else, Ted?
There was something you said that, so something you said is like you might pay too much to the IRS. So like this is something that I didn't know before these conversations with Weights and Wealth. But like if you submit a tax return and you pay more than you should to the IRS, they don't tell you like, hey, yo, you sent us $1,000 too much. They just pocket it, right? And then but if you don't send them enough, they're like, oh no, you need to pay us more. Yeah. So it's like, whoa, why is it only the one side? It's kind of funny, I think.
Yeah. I think the only time that they'll send you money back is if you say that you paid in less than you did. But if you say that your income is higher than it actually is, they're usually just like, okay, if that's what you say it is, that's what we'll take.
Like the Social Security one that you mentioned, that mistake that you caught.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I mean, like a great accountant is on your side. I think a lot of people view accountants as the IRS. There are some accountants out there that are very just, you got to pay your fair share. Like you're rich, I want you to pay tax. But a great accountant is on your side and tries to lower your tax liability as much as possible. Yeah. And I say that's most of them out there. Yeah. Most people don't like telling you to pay more in tax. That is the worst part of our job. Like we don't like people to have to pay their hard-earned money to the government.
Yeah, your client that is paying you is going to be like, why am I paying so much? Like everybody wants to get more money back on their tax return.
Yeah. So like that's always a bummer, is telling people bad news. But sometimes there's no way around it. Like we can't commit fraud. Yeah. Sorry.
All right, guys. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to send it to a friend. Just hit the share and then go to your messages and find a few friends to send it to. We'll be back with you next week. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today at Weights and Wealth. And don't forget to apply today's lessons to live healthy and wealthy.
If this conversation will contribute to your fitness and financial gains, please share it with a friend or family member and give a 5-star review so more people can lift bigger weights and get bigger bank accounts.